here's the thing with fear, you either use it as a crutch for excuses to not do things, or you use it as fuel to move forward and do things anyway. And I always have used fear as fuel because I'm curious and I kind of like want to see what's around the corner and see what's going on. I've always kind of been like that because you know what you know right now. You know how things are going exactly right now. You know where you're living, you know who's around you, you know exactly right now. And that if that doesn't change, it's going to stay exactly the same. Aren't you interested in what may be if you did other things and made other changes and choices?
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for fun, but I already.
Hi, my name is Amie. Like, comment, and subscribe to Lux Media Studios. They are awesome.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Living Your Life, Be Authentically. You with me, Amie. I am so happy to have you here for another episode. And really quickly, if you guys love the song that was just played, that is my daughter, True Istina, TRUE_ISTNINA.music official. She is on Instagram and she has new music coming out. And go check her out. Write a comment. Just enjoy the music. Love to have you there. So also real quick, if you guys are looking for pure, true happiness, come check out my website, thetruehappiness.com, and see what I have to offer. It's really wonderful, and it really will help you to see what your true happiness is. Everybody has their own specific happiness, and this is going to help you to achieve yours. Sometimes we feel alone. Sometimes we feel like we just are not fulfilled, and this will help you to become fulfilled. I would love to help you. I'd love to talk to you. Send me a DM and let's chat. But without further ado, I am so super excited for my guest. Yay! This is Candice Barr. She is the owner of Lux Media, and she is incredible, a wonderful woman, and an author of the new book, Believing Before Seeing, that I've shared so much about. This book is powerful, and I am so excited to have her on my podcast. So welcome, Candice.
Thank you for having me on. I'm excited. I love your show. You know, of course we produce it, but I always love watching it, and I'm happy to be on it.
Thank you. We're happy to have you here. I want to just ask you, like, for instance, let's go from the beginning. Why? When you were a baby. Now, like, when did things start changing that you started really feeling like believing before seeing? Because there's usually a shift that sometimes takes place in our lives. I don't think, some people can be born with it, but I would like to know your story on that.
So with believing before seeing, I will say even before the story I'm going to share with you in a second, I will always say I always felt a connection to source, universe, God, whatever word you want to place on that. I always felt a really deep connection to something outside myself, something much bigger, even when I was really little. I remember being really, small, like 6, 7, 8, and just like knowing how I would be when I was older and actually knowing like what I would even look like. Yeah, I just like had a knowing of not exactly what's to come because a lot of things in life are big surprises. But just like trusting and knowing that certain things are going to shake out. So that's always kind of been there. And I have a belief that everyone's kind of like that. Some people tap into it more than others. I think it kind of depends on how you're raised and many different factors with that. But a pivotal point in my life was when I turned 23. That was just a point in my life of like, really intense spirituality for me. And a lot of different changes and big decisions had to be made that I did make. I think it was 23. And just knowing those decisions that I made at that time was going to change my life forever. And so being comfortable, being very uncomfortable, hyper uncomfortable with those changes and situations, and just putting one foot in front of the other and just trusting that I'm going to be taken care of and it's going to be okay. And if I didn't make these choices and decisions, my life would look quite different. And either of them were okay decisions but it would change the course of my life. So that was a really, to answer your question, that was a really pivotal point in my life. But with those decisions made and those big changes, I absolutely had to believe in what I did not see. I had to absolutely trust the unknown and just see how it kind of shook out, because it was all very new and it was all interesting. And I find newness very exciting. And I like a good challenge. So that's, to answer the question, that's kind of where that was.
So at that point, was there any fear there? Was there any like, because you're believing before seeing, right? And we're like, okay, we believe before we see, but was there fear? Was there something holding you back? Or did you just say, I'm just going to jump and go? And like you say, build the plane while it's in the air.
Yes. Build a plane as you fly it. So was there fear? Yeah, there definitely was fear. But here's the thing with fear: you either use it as a crutch for excuses to not do things, or you use it as fuel to move forward and do things anyway. And I always have used fear as fuel, because I'm curious and I kind of like want to see what's around the corner and see what's going on. I've always kind of been like that. Because you know what you know right now. You know how things are going exactly right now. You know where you're living, you know who's around you, you know exactly right now. And that, if that doesn't change, it's going to stay exactly the same. Aren't you interested in what may be if you did other things and made other changes and choices?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. That's true. You will be. You're right. You'll be at the same place in the
Yeah.
next 5, 10 years
Yeah.
and wonder what just happened with my life.
Yeah.
Why am I the same? Because you didn't just take that risk or that jump and just go into the unknown. And I would
Yeah.
say, really, what's the worst that can happen?
Nothing. And even dying, I'm not afraid of dying either. Like, even dying is like, that's, I think that's an interesting journey in itself as well, because we don't know what we don't know, and we don't know, and nobody knows. And example, if you're going to move from one state to another across the country, or going to move where, do whatever, don't ask people around you if you should be moving. They're there, they've been there, they want to stay there, they want you to stay there as well. Don't listen to anybody. And like, thank God I didn't listen to anybody. And I was always very headstrong. And I'm sure when I was younger, I was way more headstrong than now. So I wasn't listening to anyone. If you had anything negatives to say against my decisions, you were cut off. So thank God I was like that, because if I wasn't like that, we wouldn't be talking today.
Wow. You're right. And if you wouldn't have done that, you're right. You wouldn't be talking. You wouldn't be impacting the people you've been impacting, changing lives, changing my life, because you really have. And the amount of strength you are a woman literally of strength. I feel
Mhm.
that within you. I
Mhm.
see that within you. And I just feel that you go for it. You're just like, you know what? Here we go. I'm going and let's just see what's going to happen. And I love that about you. That's
Thank you.
a beautiful quality to have. And that though is faith, right?
Yeah, it's, again, knowingness within. Like, you've already been through so much stuff, and I've said on other people's shows, like, everyone has been through a lot of stuff. It's different stuff sometimes, but we've been through a lot of stuff. That's a part of being a human. You're in human school, and you're here, you're still here, and you're still going. So you're tough, you're tougher than you think, and you can handle a lot more than you think. And if you handle a lot and go through a lot, then big things become small things, and you just know that you can handle it. Whatever comes your way, you're going to handle it.
Yeah. That's very true. That's very true. I think we look at it, we're like, it's such a hill or such a mountain. But once we get through it, we're like, oh, I just went through that, and it's amazing. And then you're like, okay, well, then if I can do this, then I can do this. And then it just keeps going. And I always look back and go, you know what? If I got through that,
Yeah.
then this is easy. I got this.
And
Because
also too, it's like, you get to a point, and get to a point where people are watching, and you're not necessarily doing it for them, but you are encouraging, inspiring, and educating and motivating people. And so you got to keep going. I think at the beginning, sometimes you're going for yourself, but then when things grow, you're going for other people as well. And you're giving other people inspiration, motivation, education. And, if you stop, they're watching. And they may stop too because of you. So you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders to keep going for everybody else too.
Yeah, that is so true. With a quick little story, we were actually just at the park with my daughter. She was doing her little singing thing for her video. And there was a lady, I guess it was 96,
Mm.
and she was like, I just saw her over there because she danced for me. I used to be a dancer. And
Oh,
just that, beautiful moment is so powerful.
yeah,
Right. She was doing this, but didn't realize she was impacting somebody else.
yeah,
You never know who you're going to impact with a smile, with your positivity, with
yeah.
your courage, your strength, your faith. You never know. And once we start doing that, that's when all the beauty starts really happening.
Totally. And like even like, basic manners, holding the door open for someone who's coming in behind you, putting the grocery cart away, like back into the cart thingy. Just basics. Well, you might consider it small, but someone's the whole day may have been total crap for them. And just a kindness really could change a lot of things for people. You don't know who you're impacting. And a lot of times you don't hear the stories of what you said or done, but it does sit with people, and you'll hear about it years later. That has happened to me many times, of what you said or did for them, and they never forgot or always remembered, and you don't remember because life is happening, but you don't know.
Yeah. And you just changed their life.
Mm.
Yeah, very true. So I really want to talk to you about your awesome book. Let's discuss this. This is so good.
I'm so
I
excited.
Yes, this is just such a good book. And for everybody, get this book, Believing Before Seeing. It's really a good book, easy read, super easy read. I've read it over and over because the way that she has it is very simple. And I think that is the key. Too many times we think of manifesting or believing and all of this as so complicated, and we make it hard. So tell me about your book. Tell me why you did it and what you put in it and that kind of thing.
So I've said this on other shows as well, but I'm going to say it again. It's like, it's really interesting to me still that I even have a book, because for years, probably 10 plus years, people were asking me like, do you have a book? Do you have a book? Do you have a book? And at the time I always thought, because I'm a businesswoman first and foremost. And I always thought, I don't want to write another business book. Every entrepreneur has a business book. I'm so over people, your book is your next business card.
Yeah.
And so for years, I always said, I'm never going to write a book. I'm never going to write a book. You're never going to see a book come from me. It's never going to happen. However, clearly I have a book, but it's not on business. And
Mhm.
so the, literally the book came to me in a dream. It was not on my radar. I was not thinking about it. Again, I always said I'd never write one. The whole thing came to me in a dream. The book title, the book chapter titles, what was in each chapter. It came to me in a dream one night, and it was so vivid, so much so that I woke up the next morning. I was like frantically looking for pen and paper just so I could write it down because I wouldn't forget. And
Wow.
that's really where it started. So I would call there. It's a chapter in the book called Divine Downloads. That
Mhm.
was a super divine download. If you don't know what that is, get the book. It explains what that is. But yeah, that was a very intense divine download. And so even when I read the book now, to be honest,
Yeah.
I'm reading it. It's things that I absolutely said, and it is things that I practice and that I do. But I'm reading it as if like somebody else wrote it, because something else did write it.
Yes, I see. Yeah, because it just came down and there you go. That's what I'm
Wow,
saying. It's really written well because
thank you.
it honestly, I've read many, many books about things like this. Many. And listened to different people talking about it and stuff. And there's like I said, so much complication. So if you could tell the viewers like a way that like what are the simple steps of manifesting? If you can kind of break it down a little bit for us,
Yeah.
but please get the book too because it's in more detail. But
Thank you. And I will answer your question really quickly. I kept it simple and clean and straightforward because I did write it, primarily for entrepreneurs, but it's really for anybody.
yeah,
But because entrepreneurs, we don't have a lot of time. If we're busy building business and taking care of business and life and all these things. So I kept the book pretty short and sweet so people could feel accomplished that they read a book, if nothing else for that year. Because you can get through this in a day,
yeah,
a weekend,
absolutely.
a weekend. And so I wanted people to feel accomplished, but still get a lot of value and a lot of impact very quickly. Um, what was the question? Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, so we in the book, like you have simplistic manifesting, like and believing. So what are the steps that you can
Um,
share that's easy for someone to just like
yeah,
they can go, hey, yeah, I can do this part of it.
yeah. So some steps are, I would say, it's pretty. As humans, we love to overcomplicate everything. I mean, we're so good at overcomplicating everything and overthinking things and worrying about things, and we're really good at all that. Um, but some things that make it easy on yourself is maybe to go. Maybe I would test a day for just test one day. Days are going to go by regardless, so just test one day. And I we have a Saturday service, and every Saturday service we have a new topic. And last Saturday service, I said, I want you to go about your day today as if, what if this could happen? You may think it's crazy, you may think it's dumb, may think it's nuts, whatever word you want to put on it. But let's just pretend, what if that did happen? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be awesome? Like, how would you feel about that? Make things light instead of making things heavy. I know things go on throughout life that sometimes they're not amazing and don't feel great. I I do know that. But maybe make it light and just go about it, what if, or even as if. Like, let's pretend, when you're a kid, you pretend all the time.
Always. Yep.
Yeah. And so when you're adult, kids and adults, they're not that much different. Adults are just people who, some people just act better than others, but we all don't know what the hell's going on.
I love that.
So let's just pretend for the day. Like, just pretend as if it was going to happen. And what if it did happen? That would be cool. How'd that feel? It's really the feeling of the thing. It's not you overanalyzing. It's not you knowing every step to take, because you'll never know the step to take. The how is not up to you in any capacity. Usually the how surprises you on how things shake out. It's really what you want and the goal of the thing.
Yeah.
That's your job, but all the stuff in between that's not your job. And that's where people get tricked up, is that they have to know every step of the way, and they have to have a game plan or a business plan. Throw that out the window.
That-
Just have the want and the goal, and just act as if, and like, what if this just did happen? I think that's very simplistic to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And we catch ourselves. We're like, well, from everything that we've been through in our lives, again, the fear happens, right? We get stuck in our ways. We're like, I can't go there. And you just don't, it's very hard for us to go back to that child like sense
Mm.
of just, what if, what if, what if? And when
Yeah,
you start doing it, I call it my candy land, which I do. I live in my candy land phase. But like, but when you think like that, then there's really nothing stopping you, because it's just these things just they start opening up and you're not forcing it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Things don't
yeah,
have to be put perfectly into plan. Sometimes it takes people, take this, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then finally something happens. But it's like,
yeah.
why? Just go for it, because it's actually going to be better than you even imagine if you just do that.
Believing Before Seeing, a new bestseller by Candice Barr. Order your copy today.
1,000,000%. You could not. We cannot create how awesome it actually is.
Yes.
Like, even the awesomest we could possibly think, it's a million times more awesome, right?
Yes.
And I
Yes.
know I know people have instances in their life that they can agree with that. Everybody has those instances. Like, remember this when this happened, that was so great. Or when that, like, if that's if it has happened before in another kind of space, it can happen again. It, like, cool things don't stop happening. They
Right.
only stop happening when you stop allowing them to happen.
Mhm.
So you're not getting punished. I don't believe the universe works like that.
Yeah.
You're not getting punished. Bad things aren't happening to you because of karma. I don't really believe in that, per se. Um, you know,
Mhm.
I think the universe is just love. It doesn't know anything else outside of love. So if it's not in a love space, that's not from the universe. That's from
Yeah.
ego. And again, you're creating that. You are quite powerful, and that's something I want people to get out of the book, is you have a lot of personal power. And I mean a lot. If you knew how much personal power you had, you'd probably be terrified. Um,
So true.
so you don't have to feel powerless. You don't have to give your power away. No one can take your power away. You write your own book. No one else can write in your book besides you. And you have, you do have that, whether you realize that or not. It is there. And myself, my life, and I know a lot of other people that use these kind of tools, and beliefs, and it happens for a lot of people, so it can happen to you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. Like you said, we look back and we're like, wait, this happened. Why? We didn't have resistance to it.
Yeah,
We weren't thinking, we maybe thought something, oh, it'd be cool to do this. But then
yeah,
you let it go, right? And then all of a sudden, those doors open and you're like, I
totally,
got here. Like,
totally. Yeah,
but
and
if you're fighting it, right, and
yeah,
resisting it constantly, or the how, because we all want to be in control of that, and it's like then it stops it
yeah. So
completely.
I believe, you have control of your mind, but
Mhm.
I don't believe you have control over much else.
Right,
And so, and because your mind is a part of you,
right,
you are in control of your life.
exactly.
Um, so it's an interesting topic, and I think not to get too heavy into it because things are actually quite light. So if
Hmm.
you keep things light, and
Yes.
again, an idea of it, like that would be cool if this happened, or what if that happened? That would be cool. Instead of taking an idea or something you want and just strangling it to death to the ground and like, screaming like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening?
Mhm.
That's not, it doesn't work like that. It has to be light, it has to be airy, it has to be, and you have to be open to cool
Mhm.
things happening. Like, oh, it's not happening. Well, you're not open to it. You're blocking it. So it's like,
Exactly.
again, like things are very easy and simplistic.
Right, right. And I think the reason maybe sometimes, tell me if you think this too, is when we're doing this strangling thing and like, why isn't it happening? Is because we're not grateful for where we are at a particular moment. And we
Mhm.
just want something so different that we're just like reaching out for it and grabbing it rather than being grateful for what we have right at this moment.
Yeah,
And then those doors start opening. Because if you're
yeah,
grateful here, you can't strangle anything else.
yeah. And so that's where, I love doing this. I've been doing this for a very long time. I call it 100 points of gratefulness. And you write it down because writing things down is quite powerful. um, you know, Again, you're quite powerful. So your words are powerful and you writing down things are very powerful. And it's just 100 points of gratefulness. And it actually opens up quite a bit and it makes you feel lighter and it allows things to come in. It could be simple as like, I'm grateful for the air I breathe. I'm grateful for my really comfortable bed. I'm grateful for having a roof over my head. I'm grateful for having clothes on my back. I'm grateful for, your family, your friends, people who are supportive. I'm grateful for, whatever, my team, being able to go buy one of my favorite coffees. I mean, you can think of the smallest thing, like, you know, insects, animals. There's so much beauty around, and I think everyone's so distracted by everything, and so overwhelmed. But you can calm yourself down. You can take a moment. I think writing down 100 points of what you're grateful for, because it just comes flowing out. 100. You could probably write more than 100, to be honest, and it helps a lot.
Yeah, it centers you and it gives you that internal happiness and that everything is okay, right? I always say to stay in that alignment, body, mind, soul, that peacefulness, stay in that alignment. And when you do, then that's when you've said something, the what ifs, okay, this would be nice. And then all of a sudden, boom, it comes and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like some of the I can tell you from my personal life, some of the coolest things that have happened to me was like it was literally just a thought I may have said to myself out loud, like, oh, that would be cool if I could move there, and like forgot about, like, let it go, for like forgot about it. A week later it happened. Like it just like it just has to be light and open.
Light and open. I think that's a big key right there. Light and open.
Mm.
Because I think there's so many things with like manifesting and believe, like all of that. People are just like you said, just drilling it in and drilling it in and
Right,
trying
like,
this and
oh, this
doing
happened,
this.
this has to happen. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
That's with other humans, that energy doesn't work.
Yeah.
So with an energetic field, an energetic source, that doesn't work.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I always feel like, it's right there, like in a platter, and it's ready to
totally.
come to you, but we're like, please, please, please. It's like a little kid, right? Please, please, please. And you're like, wait, just, I'm going to give it to you all the time. It's like that big, 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 big. We don't need to beg.
Yeah. I said a lot on shows, like, it's like, you want to open a door, right? So before you even reach for the handle and just simply turn the handle, you don't like get a saw and try to, saw through the door. You don't get a hammer and try to knock off like the bolts on the other side of it. You don't try to like kick through the door. You're not trying to like go underneath the door. You're not trying to do that. You simply just reach out, turn the handle, and the door opens. It's like that.
That was a good visual. I see someone just like doing all that.
Like you didn't even try to do the simple thing of it. You didn't try that. Okay.
Like,
Mhm.
so simple. And also like I like the analogy of, getting food at a restaurant and it's coming, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't have to go and see why or where how they're gonna make it
You're
or
not going back and checking to make sure the chef is like doing it, if he's actually doing it or doing it correctly. You're not checking, like you're not doing all that. You're sitting there at the table, expecting it to come the way they ordered it, and that's really how it is.
yes, very true, very true.
Mhm.
I think one of the things that I remember too with you, Candice, was the same thing. I think that especially when we met the first time, like that was when you were over and you were speaking at Rocky's Lounge and all of
Mhm.
that, I believe that that was supposed to happen.
Mhm.
And then from the next moment on, when nobody was there, and all of a sudden you're walking in and you were supposed to be leaving that day because you left that day on a plane,
Yeah.
that whole thing, because I was thinking about you. And you even
Well,
said,
do you remember me? I had brought a book for you, and something told me, like I was supposed to go from my hotel to the airport, and something was like, if you go to Rocky Lounge, Amie's gonna be there. So, and I brought the book for you, and I went to Rocky Lounge, and you were the only one there.
no,
Yeah.
it was crazy. It
Mhm.
was crazy. And the only reason I stayed was because a friend called me. She wasn't feeling well, so she was on the phone with me.
Mm.
If that phone call didn't come through and I didn't pick it up, I would have left
Mhm.
because nobody else was there.
Yeah. So even like that one interaction out of the hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
um, like we couldn't have timed that.
No,
We didn't connect and make that happen.
no.
Um, so how can you explain that?
Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. And those are the beautiful serendipitous moments and the beautiful moments. And if you just keep believing and you just
Mhm.
believe, all these things really start happening. And literally, it's so fun. It is fun and it's so beautiful. And you
Yeah.
never know what's coming around the other corner. But again, that makes life fun.
Yeah. It's a really cool space to be in. It's like a space of wonderment, enchantment, enjoyment, all the good words. Like again, like it's only love in that space. So it's all the good feelings and the good words too.
Exactly.
If you allow it. If you don't want to and you don't allow it, it won't, trust me, it won't happen. Um, so you're gonna get what you want.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of it too is trusting in your own intuition and trusting yourself, right? Because sometimes we don't do that. And if we don't trust ourselves, then maybe I would have not been over there at the lounge. But I was like, no, I need to go. There
Mm,
was something that was just pushing me to go that day and then be there. Like all of this stuff, had no clue what was going to happen next.
yeah.
And that was just the things I was trusting our own intuition, our own thoughts, all of that. And I think a lot of times we block that with, like you were saying, right? Other people.
Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like, getting other people's input or 2 cents. Don't do that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Other people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So why are you asking people or relying on people who also don't know what they're doing? That doesn't make sense. And
Yeah.
that your life is not their life. So their experiences are their own. So keep it to yourself and, you know, rely on yourself. Um, you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. I think that's like really, I think that's key is to really do that, is to trust yourself. And again, it's hard. Sometimes it's very hard for people to do that.
Mm.
It's because we always rely on, well, what do they think? Or what do they think? Or what do they think? Or what do they think? Well,
Really,
all of those things mess us up.
there's no one so important in your life that it really matters what they think, because they're living their lives for themselves, and you need to live your life for yourself. Like example, someone's parents, like, you know, someone may be like a full grown adult and still relying on their parents' input and 2 cents and all that stuff. Why? They already lived their life and they're living their life. You live your life. Your experience is designated for yourself. Mm.
Yeah, that's true. That's when we lose
So,
our
like, you're an
dreams.
adult. You need to like grow up
Yeah,
and yeah, you make your own decisions because you have your own life.
that is true.
Mhm.
I think that's the time, like when people start losing their dreams, losing their
Mhm.
manifestations, losing that creativity, losing all that, staying stagnant is because of what other people are telling them.
Because they're not only is it your fear now, but it's their fear as well. And a lot of people have, you know, best interests for you, but they can only speak on as much as they know. And they can only speak on their own experiences. They can't speak on your experiences and they don't know what you know. And so that's why you don't ask people their opinions on anything. And you just do it.
Right.
So I'd rather do it and, you know, ask for forgiveness than do it and ask for permission, or not do it and ask for permission. So yeah, I can't remember the last time I asked for permission for anything. So, you know, you know, it's there's a lot of power in being independent. There's a lot of power in, you know, believing in yourself.
Yes.
Again, you're quite powerful. And so to tap into that, you have it. Everybody has it. It's not designated for certain people. Everyone has it.
Right. Right. I love that. I think that is a very uh, powerful thing you said is that we all have it. I think
Hmm.
that is huge. And when we really tap into that, that is the key.
Hmm.
That's the
Yeah.
key.
Again, it goes back to just, again, simplistic. Gotta allow it.
Yes, absolutely.
And
So,
not feeding into fear, because fear kills a lot of dreams, and fear kills a lot of really cool things that could have happened in your life.
mhm, I agree. I
Mhm.
agree. I love this. So, really quickly, right before we wrap it up, what is one thing you want to leave the viewers about your book that you want to share?
Um, Again, it goes back to, like, I always want everyone who reads it to have, you know, takeaways from something. Every chapter I think has a cool takeaway.
Okay.
Um, but again, just knowing that you do have your personal power, you can use it at any time. You can create a really cool life. Nothing, and I do mean nothing, is out of reach for you. Think massive, think huge. They say dream big, you know, dream bigger than that, because dreaming is free. And try it, just try it, see what changes, see what works out for you, because if you allow things to happen that are cool and that are fun, life is supposed to be fun. I think people are forgetting to have fun, and that's kind of where you come in, you know, happiness coach, fun coach. People don't know what their own happiness is anymore.
Absolutely.
So, and people don't know how to have their own fun anymore, your own brand of fun. That's not one size fits all either. So it's okay to be individual. We're here to be individual. We should not be the same. So you get out of the book whatever you get out of the book, but those are some points that's a big thing for me, for people to take away.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Well, I am so, so happy that you joined me. Really
Thank
happy.
you.
Again, fantastic book, Leaving Before Seeing. Please go get it, you guys. It's really, really good. Simple read. You can read it in the evening and go straight through it. Like I did. I was
Hmm.
like, wow. It was
Hmm.
so good. Good, easy to read. I like the big print. Really, really great, Candice.
Thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you.
So again, I'm so excited to have you. I hope we can have you on again because I know there's so much more to talk about. But I'm so happy to have you. And everybody, I really want to say, I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed day. Have your happiness. Check me out again at thetruehappiness.com. Check out what I have to offer. And again, really have a wonderful day and go find your own happiness. Go manifest. Go have some fun. All right. I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Don't need you. Tell me what I can and can't do. I'm in charge of what I feel. It's just a game I play for